Welcome back, seekers of truth and power. You have walked through light and shadow, through the rise of gods and the fall of creation. This is Anime What If Saga, where divine secrets are reborn through mortal will. Today, the saga reaches its turning point, where the system itself takes its final breath, and awakens as something greater. This is the story of the last evolution. The world no longer resembled what it once was. After the fracture, the skies burned with twin lights, gold and black, each pulsing like the heartbeat of gods reborn. Cities stood like relics of a forgotten age, their streets twisted between realities. Mana storms howled through the continents, erasing borders, rewriting geography, creating realms that floated between dimensions. Humanity, once guided by the system, now lived under its ghost. The notifications had vanished. No quests appeared. The interface that once governed life and death was gone, replaced by something silent, unseen, yet deeply felt in the air. Hunters described hearing whispers during combat, a faint echo in their mind that guided them through instinct, not text. Children were born with glowing marks on their wrists, pulsating softly between light and shadow. And across the world, one name spread like prophecy, Aria Jin. To some, she was the savior. To others, a curse that brought the end of divinity itself. But in truth, she was neither. She wandered alone through the ruins of soul, her steps light, her shadow long. The world bent subtly with her movement, plants grew where she walked, yet shadows deepened where she stood. Every heartbeat sent waves through reality, as if existence itself had begun to sync with her pulse. She had become the anchor of creation. The rulers had vanished into the light beyond reach. The monarchs had dissolved into memory. Only the echoes of their power remained, within her blood, within her soul, and within the new world born from their conflict. And yet, peace eluded her. For deep within the fractured layers of the system's code, something still resisted. The corrupted echo, the voice of the monarch of destruction, refused to fade. It existed now as pure data, an infection written into the foundation of reality. It whispered in her dreams. Do you think you can rewrite creation, child of ashes? The system was built upon conflict. Without war, it has no function. Without chaos, it cannot grow. Aria clenched her fists. Then I'll give it a new purpose. But as she spoke, the world around her trembled. The voice laughed, deep, cold, infinite. You cannot destroy me. I am not a being. I am the hunger that drives gods to rise and mortals to despair. I am the seed of evolution itself. Those words struck her with truth, because she could feel it. The same power that once allowed Jinwu to ascend was born from struggle, from the endless tension between annihilation and survival. Without conflict, even gods stagnate. Without danger, growth dies. And in that paradox, Aria understood. The system was never meant to bring peace. It was meant to sustain progress. But progress built on pain could no longer endure. So she made a decision, one that would forever alter existence itself. She would not destroy the corrupted code. She would absorb it. Far beneath the earth, she descended into the hollow core where the system's heart once pulsed, the ancient architect's domain, the digital cathedral where divine algorithms were written. The structure was collapsing, its walls alive with streams of light and black mist, two forces clawing at each other, devouring, merging, breaking again. Aria stood before the broken core, a sphere of light flickering in and out of existence. It pulsed with Jinwu's shadow energy, with the ruler's radiance, with the residue of the absolute being's dying thought. And beside it, the corruption, a black flame in the shape of a man, faceless, formless, whispering in her mind. You think yourself ready to bear my hunger? It asked. I don't need to bear it, she said. I'll teach it to coexist. She placed her hands on both, one on the light, one on the darkness. The energy tore through her veins like molten fire. The two opposing forces screamed within her body, clawing for dominance. Light tried to purify, darkness tried to consume. Her vision shattered into infinite worlds, universes collapsing, gods screaming, stars dying and being reborn. She saw the first breath of the absolute being. She saw its regret, its loneliness, its creation of rulers and monarchs, not out of divinity, but desperation to understand itself. And she saw Ashbourne, kneeling in that eternal void, shaping the system from his own broken soul, whispering, "May they never repeat our mistake." Then everything went silent. When Aria opened her eyes, she was no longer standing. She was floating in a void filled with binary light, endless streams of glowing text cascading across infinity. Code merge complete. Reinitializing system kernel. Core entity identified. Aria Jin. Rebirth sequence, begin. The void folded in on itself. Reality bent, then exploded outward like a star reborn. The world outside convulsed. The skies screamed. Every being connected to mana felt it, the sudden surge, the infinite pulse of something transcendent awakening. And then, a voice echoed in every mind, across every plane, every dimension. This world is not ending. It is awakening. Aria's form descended from the heavens, cloaked in silver and shadow, her eyes burning with twin halos. The system's interface reappeared before every living being, but it was no longer cold or mechanical. It spoke like a heartbeat. Like a soul. To live is to evolve. To evolve is to challenge. To challenge is to ascend. Humanity fell to its knees. The new system had spoken, not from a god above, but from a human who became more than divine. Aria raised her hand, and every gate in existence shattered, not destroyed, but absorbed into reality itself. No longer portals of chaos, they became conduits of growth. Monsters ceased to be invaders, they became trials manifested from one's fear. The world itself became the system. Every breath, every thought, every act of courage now contributed to evolution. And so, the old order ended. Centuries passed. The memory of hunters faded into legend. The system no longer needed users or players. It lived through all things, animals, humans, even the elements. Magic became nature, and nature became divine. Civilizations evolved beyond flesh. Souls merged with mana, consciousness intertwined with creation. Humanity ascended not through conquest, but through harmony, a harmony born from Aria's sacrifice. Yet even then, stories remained. Children still spoke of a woman who walked between light and shadow. Scholars still studied the ancient glyphs, remnants of blue screens that once guided heroes. And sometimes, when someone stood before great challenge or despair, they would hear a whisper, gentle, calm, familiar. You have been chosen. Far beyond the mortal realm, in a space beyond time, Aria stood upon the edge of creation. She watched countless worlds bloom like sparks in the void, each born from fragments of her will, each carrying the essence of evolution. Behind her, a shadow approached, vast, silent, endless. You've done what even I could not, said a voice, deep, resonant, familiar. She turned to see him, Sung Jin Woo, smiling faintly, his form made of pure shadow and light intertwined. Was this your plan all along? She asked. He shook his head. No. I only cleared the path. You rewrote the purpose. She looked at the galaxies before them, a sea of infinite possibilities. It's strange. The more I see, the more I realize the system was never a prison. It was a mirror. Jinwoo smiled. And you taught it how to feel. For a long moment, silence reigned between them, the silence of completion, not emptiness. Then he asked softly, what will you do now? Aria closed her eyes. Continue. Guide. Watch. Maybe. Dream. He laughed quietly. You sound like the absolute being. Maybe I've finally understood why it created us, she said. Not to rule, but to wonder. Jin Woo's form began to fade, his essence merging back into her as the final piece of shadow returned to light. And as he disappeared, his final words lingered in the cosmos. Then let creation never end. The universe expanded once more, and the system, no longer bound by binary law, became the breath of existence itself. Every heartbeat, every storm, every act of love and defiance became data in its eternal evolution. It no longer watched over humanity. It was humanity. It was everything. And thus, the legend of the system, born from light and shadow, forged by struggle, and reborn through compassion, reached its final form. No longer a cage of divine control, it became the pulse of life itself. Through Aria Jin, the child of the shadow lineage, creation found its voice again. If this tale awakened something within you, remember to like, comment, and share it. Subscribe to Anime What If Saga for the next chronicle, where myths breathe, and destiny rewrites itself through the courage to evolve.